Smack your belly button hole.
Your belly button hole.
So what's up?
There you go, man. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tether Radio Podcast, the only podcast keeping you from spiraling out into the infinite abyss. I'm your host, Daniel, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and co-host, Joseph.
What's up?
What'd it be, dude?
I'll bet you I just redlined like an MF right there. Shouting, what's up?
I'm gonna have to compress the out of this shit.
Yeah, man.
Stop cursing.
Oh, really?
I'm just gonna accentuate the first syllable,
Right.
and then just cut it off, man. What the Shit. Exactly.
Right.
So I'll just look like I'm like seizing or something.
Why are you such a hole?
Why are you such a I'm just gonna scream at people instead of cursing.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, man. Or just pull your shirt up in the front and just smack your belly button hole.
Your belly button hole.
So what's up?
There you go, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
How was your week, man?
Well, smack your belly button hole to well, you tell me what this is. Oh, hang on. I can't do it. My lips are too dry. All right. It's good, man. It was good. Had to take a little trip to Denver, and so yeah, I'm in Denver, bitch.
Denver, bitch.
Second Denver.
Noise.
Have you ever been to Denver?
Well, I can't remember. Did I say on the podcast that I'm going to be leaving my job to focus wholly on this?
To focus on the whole.
To focus on my whole.
If you ever really just want to focus on the whole,
Yeah.
Which I believe in that. You know?
I like to set aside enough time to focus on my whole every day.
What, do you remember that Ween song that's like something about to smell my whole life? Remember that?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So we've got some exciting stuff coming to Tether in the next couple of weeks and couple of months, and we'll keep the cards close to the vest, but some exciting and cool kind of additional offerings, if you will.
Here.
Well.
Some new voices, some new opinions, some new perspectives.
Yeah, some new holes.
Some new holes.
It's gonna be
Jesus.
I think everybody's really...
I don't know if this whole meme for our
it's probably not
for our
good
show is working out.
Yeah, it's probably not a good look, but yeah. So that'll be exciting, man. Gonna have that
sure.
picking up, and yeah, and we'll be doing the thing. So everybody good? Everybody happy? Everybody healthy?
Yeah, dude. Just taking it a day at a time, man. Megan had to go to a birthday party yesterday without me because I worked. And obviously, I don't want to throw people off. These are I'm saying yesterday because we record on Sundays, and then the Tether Frag comes out on Monday, which is a little glimpse into what the one of the discussions in our episode is going to be. And then the normally it's going to be under 5 minutes, but that comes out on Mondays, and then the full episode comes out on Wednesdays following. So,
yeah.
But so yeah, definitely check out the Frag if you dig what you're hearing. Check out the full episode, or if you just want to jump in with both feet, get that full episode, man, because I can pretty much guarantee you will be entertained to some extent.
There will be something in there. There will be a moment where you will smirk.
You will smirk, and you might even exhale fast out of your nose.
Yeah, and you might even chortle.
Chortle, nice.
Yeah,
a very underrated term. So
dunka.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's hop into this shit.
Let's do it.
All right. So, Joseph, have you ever wanted to pet a raccoon?
I'm doing it now. Have I ever wanted to pet a raccoon? Yes, but not touch their hands.
Yeah, they're kind of creepy, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, if you've ever wanted to pet a trash panda, you might have missed your opportunity if you live in Georgia, which I know you're not there right now, but you have an apartment in Georgia.
Wait, what's going on? Don't tell me.
The Macon-Bibb County Health Department is investigating a possible rabies exposure that happened on August 3rd at an event at the Village Gallery and Studio.
Okay.
So these guys threw this event, and it was called Raccoon or Kitten. And I'm assuming it was just like a petting thing, or showing a guide you don't have to like differentiate between the two. But
right.
But anyway, people were given an opportunity to interact with a juvenile raccoon. The raccoon, whose owner was a private citizen at the time of the event, was given a wildlife was given to a wildlife rehab center, where it later died and tested positive for rabies.
Jesus, dude.
So this person brought a rabid raccoon to an event that that the raccoon was exposed to a lot of people, and that it died at a rehab center and tested positive for rabies. Sure.
So did anybody else test positive?
They don't have anything. They basically just say in the article, if you went to this event, you need to contact your primary care physician or a medical professional immediately to be tested. So,
jeez,
I was just like, this is pretty incredible, man. Only in the South, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I hope nobody was touching its hole, otherwise they'd be in total trouble there.
Yeah.
No,
nobody likes a rabbit hole.
I think nobody likes a rabbit hole. That's exactly right. You don't want to go down the rabbit hole. That's true, because you don't know where it ends. But I mean, look, man, I think that's a reasonable ask, not to capture fucking baby raccoons.
Yeah. They are big vectors for disease. It's like squirrels and all that stuff. All the rodents outside, which I know raccoon isn't a rodent, but they're not exactly known for their hygiene and cleanliness. So
a possum is
what, being clean?
No, possum is a rodent, right? But a raccoon is not.
You know, I don't know, actually. I don't think a possum would be considered a rodent either. It would be considered a pest.
I think a possum is a mouse.
I was like, I'm gonna wait until you laugh.
I'm kidding. No, but I think a possum is actually a rodent. Hang on.
Ooh, check it. Yeah. Anyway, there's not a lot of.
Oh, excuse me. Hold on, I fucked that up. A marsupial. It's a marsupial.
Yeah, because it has a pouch, dude.
It sticks babies in that pouch.
Yeah, it sticks babies in its hole.
Sticks babies in its belly hole. Yeah. Okay.
Shit.
All right. Might be. All right. Let's move on.
All right. Let's cruise.
Yikes.
All right. So I pulled this one from Gizmodo. Farmers jailed for smuggling boar semen in shampoo bottles. So, yeah, let's go ahead and just do a shallow dive into this one. So there were a pair of farmers in Australia that have been sentenced to prison because they had a quote elaborate semen racket.
Jesus.
So these guys were found.
There has got to be an adult video series that goes by that name. Semen Racket.
Semen racket, nice. So these guys were found out to be smuggling boar semen, Danish boar semen, back into Australia illegally in shampoo bottles. The main guy and his company he was sentenced to 2 years in prison. And no, I'm sorry, 3 years in prison. And then the other guy that was working with him was sentenced to 2 years. And their company, GD Pork Torben Sorensen, was fined $500,000 and is now facing liquidation due to this these charges. So I was kind of like, well, okay, what's so special about Danish boar semen?
Right.
Well, apparently it is believed that Danish boars are more fertile than, I guess, Australian native boars. And so these guys were hoping to smuggle this back and increase the fertility of their stock, which would then give them an unfair advantage over fellow competitors in the pork industry in Australia. So, yeah, just pretty incredible. I didn't realize there was that much money to be made in boar semen. So,
yeah, but I mean,
in boar splooge.
Yeah, dude. Oh, God.
I told you that thing that somebody had
in force. So fucking stupid.
Somebody
right,
had a petition to, and it was obviously a joke. It was a meme on Reddit, and they said, "Talk me out," or it was like, "Talk me out of this," or something. They're like a petition to call pre-cum pre-nut butter.
That's ridiculous.
I thought it was kind of funny. So, but anyway, the other thing that was kind of an issue with all of this is China and Vietnam have had to cull a shit ton of pigs due to swine flu being pretty rampant. And so that was kind of another issue that they were kind of dealing with. Is just the fact that it's like, hey, we're trying to keep obviously these populations separate because if something breaks out, we don't want both countries to be affected by it, kind of thing. So that was another issue.
I mean, there's a million ways to make a buck, I guess.
Yes. So this last one for an opener, I just thought it was really funny. So there was this guy, or I say guy, there's this person that has been seen in Virginia, and the person has been seen by all of these doorbell video cams kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Like a Nest.
Like a Nest, yeah, Nest Cam, Ring Cam, all that stuff. So the person in question wears a hollowed out CRT TV on their head, so you can't identify them, and just puts another CRT TV.
What is that?
What
does CRT mean?
Cathode radio or cathode something tube. Give me 1 second, I'll tell you. Cathode ray tube.
It's just an old TV.
Yeah, it's basically what was really popular before LED, LCD, all that stuff.
Okay. So
it was the TVs that were really deep, and then once they got rid of the cathode ray TVs, then they could make them shallower, and that's why now we can have TVs that are like whatever, 2 inches thick or whatever.
That's why we can have nice things now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But so this person apparently has visited more than 50 homes doing this. And it's not like it's not weird, or well, it is weird. It's not that the person is vandalizing anything or messing with people other than leaving a TV on their doorstep.
But he's not doing anything that's creepy.
I mean, literally, he's just putting a TV on the doorstep and waving at the camera. So,
Wait, do we have a link to this?
Yeah, totally. It's in the confirmed topics.
I like
Let's see, line 107. But yeah, so so they had a couple 10 questions were asked in this article. Let's start broad. Why'd you do it? Number 2, do you work alone? Police believe there are at least 2 of you. 3, why the old clunkers? The cost of flat screens has come down. 4, is this a statement against cord cutting and streaming? 5, can you tell us about your inspiration? As one homer said, it was very Twilight Zone.
Wait, and so these were questions being asked where?
In the article, just by the author of the article, but just kind of funny, man. It says somebody else accused him of being his eggs.
Of being what?
Of being this person's eggs, that he was leaving TV eggs. But anyway, just thought it deserved a mention because it was just pretty fucking weird. So
yeah, but did you ever see the just speaking of, because like when I saw the video of this, and it kind of reminded me just a little bit of did you ever see the Max Headroom hack? Did you ever see this?
Huh.
Dude, this is far out, man. So I think it was in Detroit or New York, right? Mm-hmm. And it was in, let's see, I'm gonna look it up real quick.
All right.
It was in excuse me, I was wrong on both accounts. It was in Chicago, okay. November 22nd, 1987. The unidentified man dressed to resemble Max Headroom was visible in the intruding podcast. This guy like hacked into a TV station and was dressed like Max Headroom and just saying like crazy shit for like a couple minutes. Have you not seen this?
No.
It's really.
I'll put a note down to check it out.
Yeah, it's really.
And where did it happen?
Yeah, so it's in Chicago. And I'm gonna grab a link now for notes, but
show notes,
bro, notes. I'll shoot it over to you. But it's pretty far out, and that's kind of what this reminded me of. It was like this like surreal kind of thing. But anyway, let us truck on.
All right. So this next one I thought was pretty interesting because it kind of gives us a glimpse into the future. So in regards to the Tether Radio podcast, we've covered some stuff about kind of the evolution of entertainment and how the different ways that people connect these days. And this one was a really interesting one. I know that we covered, what was it, Marshmello, that threw a concert within Fortnite. And then I know that we talked about, not on the show, but as a going over articles to cover during the show, we talked about this one that Korn was actually, I think it was called Adventure Quest 3D. And Korn is going to be like having some kind of concert kind of thing within that.
So when you say Korn, you're saying beating me down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Feeling like a freak on a leash.
You think that you're a singer? You're more like Jerry Springer.
No, dude. That's Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, didn't it? I thought that All in the Family was like a combo song between Limp Bizkit and Fred Durst and the lead dude from
Oh
Korn.
my
It
fucking!
was them hating on each other.
I totally forgot.
Oh my
Pick
god!
your ass singer. You're more like Jerry Springer, dude.
Your favorite band is Winger? You eat a lot of zingers.
No, that was the rhyme, wasn't it?
I'm pretty sure.
Good
So
God,
fucking terrible. But
Fred
anyway,
Durst. Man, I'm
what?
telling you, I want to see a recent picture of Fred Durst.
No, no. What you need to do is you need to look up the Fred Durst guitar solo.
I've seen this.
It is so bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
Is it called All in the Family?
I'm almost positive it's called All in the Family, but I could be wrong. Um, so
God.
moving on from that tangent. So I pulled this one from Engadget. YouTube is testing paid online hangs with influencers. So YouTube has this. It's pretty much like an in-house startup kind of thing called Fundo, or no, I'm sorry, it was called Area 120, and so what it does.
You call yourself a singer. You're more like Jerry Springer. Your favorite band is Winger. All you eat is zingers. You're like a fruity pebble. Your
Your
favorite
favorite
black
band.
is Revel.
Yeah.
It's just too bad. You're
Sounds,
faggot on a lower level.
yeah.
So you're from Jacksonville, kicking it like Buffalo Bill, getting butt fucked by your Uncle Chuck while your sister's on her knees waiting for your little peanut. Dude, you could file this under shit that wouldn't go in 2019. Like I just checked every box of like supreme fuckness.
Yeah.
The past 6 months. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Jay, you were talking about.
Anyway,
I
yeah. So they YouTube has this thing called Area 120, and basically, or I guess it would be Google has this. Google owns YouTube now, right?
Google does own YouTube.
Yeah.
Yep, and they
Okay.
have for a while.
Yeah. So Google has this thing called Area 120 that basically allows workers at Google to pitch ideas to Google, whatever, executives or people that make funding decisions, and they decide whether or not to fund these projects and stuff. And then in addition to that, they will allow the person that pitched the idea or the team to take a fifth of their or 20% of their workday and work on that project instead of whatever Google assignment they would have.
Okay.
So this one that got the go ahead was called Fundo, and it's basically it's a events focused crowdfunding service for YouTube creators. So what it allows is these YouTube influencers or creators to come up with some kind of personal way to connect with their subscribers or listeners or viewers and all that. So to give you an example, the Mexican YouTuber creator Key Rike, I guess, has used the platform to sell shout outs to fans for as little as $4. Another person, Creekcraft, has charged $10 per ticket for fans who want to attend an online meet and greet. And then you've got this style YouTuber, Hannah Forcier, I guess. She did a photo booth session with fans in which they had one-on-one conversations and posed for 3 photos together. And all of that would cost $40. So
Okay.
it's basically other offerings to allow influencers to not only connect with their subscribers and stuff like that, but to also obviously generate some more income for these guys, which I don't know. I'm assuming that the smaller YouTube influencers, it would matter more to than the, whatever, or probably any of these people that I just referenced. But yeah, so I just thought that was kind of interesting because I don't know. I mean, that's kind of the world that we live in these days. Is it's like the personal connection is kind of a thing of the past, and I think that people are trying to come up with ways now to revitalize that, but not necessarily have to be there physically, kind of thing,
Right. Right.
So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think about it?
I think that the model has got to mature in some way. Because it's going to be like there's no way, like the we're moving out of the era of mass impressions. And I'm actually we're actually seeing this on this project that I'm working on right now, right? But we're moving out of the era of where like mass clicks, mass impressions is like the key performance indicator, the KPI, as to how successful something is. And instead we're moving towards mass personalization, right? So it's like, because we have this information about people now, right? Like we know the browser that you're using to watch this YouTube video, and we can figure out, we know your IP address. We know who you are generally. I'm online now in Parker, Colorado. We can guess who's in Parker, Colorado, and then we can start to zoom in and kind of curate an experience for me particularly, which is going to resonate more as I'm introduced to products and services. The reason I say that is because YouTube now is all about millions of views, and then they say, okay, and if this is like some punk rocker chick, then it's like, can we then advertise like the new, edgy Nissan car or whatever, right?
The new line from Hot Topic.
The new, that's right. That's right. I mean, yeah, exactly. Like,
or Torrid.
Would this be something that Spencer's Gags and Gifts? Like, is this something that like the red alert that we've got a lot of Fartinator customers lining up here. Hey guys, we're gonna need to restock the Magic Eyes. No, but you know what I mean. So I think I think it makes sense, and it's going to be interesting to see how that evolves. I don't know. We're not going to be able to make this call, I don't think, but I'd like to. I would like to put some more thought into where we go from this being famous for the sake of being famous thing. That's the thing that still kind of blows my mind.
And are you talking about just basically someone is famous just because a lot of people know about them?
Yeah, I'm just talking about YouTube culture generally.
Yeah.
Like this idea of being an influencer, right? Yeah. It's because like what, you skydive, you know what I mean? Like you live stream your skydiving, or like you travel the world and you.
But see, I don't feel like influencer is really that accurate of a term. I feel like the vast majority of this shit is entertainer. Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, like you said, I mean, you've got people that literally their YouTube channel is just them like pulling pranks or something, or you've got somebody that builds crazy shit, or
right.
Yeah, and I just feel like the whole influencer. I mean,
that's a good point. That's a really good point. That's a really, really good point.
But it's just kind of a misnomer, in my opinion. But you do have influencers like the makeup people, they're style people.
Yeah, but even though yeah, my whole thing is like, if somebody's adding value, cool, whatever. I mean, it's just, I don't know, like the Kardashians, that was a weird one. Yeah. That was a really, really weird one. But I mean, I guess to kind of make your point, I mean, if they're fucking weird family entertains people, whatever, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, so I just think I think the model evolving, and people doing meet and greets, and people kind of doing this emergence into real world interaction. That's going to be happening in short order, man, for sure. Like the convergence of the digital world, and like
just
real.
Wait till VR picks up, man.
real world interaction. Yeah,
You
totally.
know,
Totally.
that's going to completely redefine all this.
It will. It will. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day about in the context of music festivals. I still think the physical world, like I don't know. I think we're really far away from like a obviously, dude, but like a Ready Player One future.
Yeah,
You know, where
yeah,
it's like you are going into this place to escape reality, and this is like where you spend the majority of your time.
yeah,
What seems to be kind of the next evolution is physical spaces that just embody a certain experience, which is then extended by technology. You know what I mean? So like let's say you're at a big concert, and it's I'll use Electric Daisy Carnival, EDC, in Las Vegas. So you're at EDC, and there is a theme, and there are these art installation pieces, and you're dressed up, and you bring your crew, and you're doing the thing, and then it's like you are able to engage with technology in this large physical scene that then extends the experience past the capability of the physical world.
yeah.
That to me seems like a way more realistic kind of extension and place that we're headed, rather than like we're just going to be like slapping Oculus Rifts on our face. I just don't think we're there. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, so are you saying almost like a destination vacation kind of thing?
I'm just saying like a destination to then engage in tech that will extend that destination. So imagine
Almost more AR than VR.
well, or like a mix of both, right? So like imagine going to Carousel or something. I'm just making this shit up. Going somewhere in the Caribbean. And so like you're in the Caribbean and like whatever, and then it's like, hey, explore like, this shipwreck that's 200 miles off the coast of Carousel. And then it's like you slap on a VR setup, and it's like you're swimming through the ocean, and you go and check out the shipwreck, which has then been pre-recorded, and you can go and explore it in this VR space.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you're there, and now like this extension of this experience that you're in physically is kind of allowed by or enabled by some sort of tech. So yeah, I mean, I guess to answer your question head on, first of all, this shit really fascinates me on the YouTube thing, because I think you're starting to see leading indicators of things like that, where it's like we're simply not going to, like, it's kind of old news to like do shit on YouTube and just have millions of people watch it. Like there's got to be an evolution. And so what's that evolution? It seems like kind of making these experiences real in some way, or more tangible, or more personalized, right?
Yeah.
And then so that's just the YouTube thing. But then generically, to answer your question straight on about AR, 100%. I think AR is going to obviously trump VR.
Yeah.
Time and time again, and then we'll make the evolution into VR.
Yeah. No, I agree though, because I think that it's going to have to. The pieces are going to have to be created before we can connect all the pieces and end up in a Ready Player One kind of situation.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So It's like you've got these little networks, like you said, and whatever, the Caribbean and Australia and the Chernobyl or something, and then it will evolve to the point to where you can sit in your house and go tour Chernobyl kind of thing.
Right.
Or whatever. So,
right.
But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to kind of keep an eye on and see how this evolves over the next years. Because I'd say we are sooner than later going to be arriving at an AR inspired world. So
yeah, it's gonna be a trip, man. And I'm pretty stoked that we're getting to see this stuff come online from the ground up.
Yeah. But all of this advancement in technology is going to have to be funded some way, right?
Whoa, bazing. That was good.
Thank you.
That was good. Very good. Yes, it will have to be funded, and it won't be with gold. Bullion, that is. So this article is from Wired. and it is titled "The Serious Money is Warming to Bitcoin." And so, this just goes on to talk about, and we've covered this a little bit on this show, but to talk about institutional money, for those uninitiated, would be capital that's flowing in from non-retail investors. You and I are retail investors, right? Institutional money is going to be bona fide hedge funds and private equity and big institutions that trade capital, or not trade capital, but make investments for a living, right? And so what's interesting about this is, they're just talking about some of the things that have held up the evolution, and just kind of how nascent the market is. Thought this was interesting. I was just checking this out before the podcast here, but you might dig it. So the entire market capitalization, meaning the amount of kind of value, or the amount of value that's out there in Bitcoin right now, $187 billion, right?
Wow. Yeah.
Which is a big number, but pales in comparison to
national debt.
Definitely the national debt, but like the total value of gold, for example, which is should be, it's like 7 trillion or something like that. Or
gotcha.
No, maybe that's a little high.
If we could capture that one asteroid, man, we could bump that up a good deal.
Yeah, no, okay, so it actually is 7.8 trillion.
7.8, gotcha.
Let me make sure that's right. So that's million, billion, trillion. Yeah, 7.8 trillion.
Okay.
And so, and that's just gold, right? So that's not, obviously other commodities or, fiat,
it's not silver. It's not bugles.
It's not bugles. It's definitely not vintage Frisbees. No, but so it is truly nascent within the context of other investment options. One of the things that's really interesting about cryptocurrency is that, and I'm going to stumble off the path here just a little bit, all is not equal, period, right? If you're listening to this, by the way, this is not investment advice, but if you were listening to this and you were like, here's this, there are thousands of these tokens, which one is the most interesting? You should really do a deep dive on Bitcoin, and you should not worry so much about the other ones. You should think about Ethereum as it used to be considered kind of a world computing machine. Now people are looking at it as kind of the rails for decentralized finance, right? Which simply means that you can take products and services that are being offered in a centralized way in finance, and you can start to offer them in a way that is decentralized, which theoretically should kind of lower the hurdle for engagement, and could potentially pull billions, if not trillions of dollars from black markets and gray markets into, official systems. Adding capital, into these systems could be a good thing. The unbanked could become banked. Let me put it that way, right? If you have 2 rupees in India, you actually might be able to convert that to a sliver of a Bitcoin, a sliver of some Ethereum-based DeFi product, and participate in the world financial systems in a way that's beneficial to you. So that's kind of like why everybody's excited about this. But in this article, they are talking about the things that needed to happen for quote serious money or institutional money to step in. And as it turns out, we're starting to see some of these things happen. When I was working at a hedge fund in the Bay, the idea of which they cover this in this article, but they cut the idea of a custodial relationship with the whatever digital assets you're holding, or excuse me, a custodial relationship with your client regarding the digital asset you're holding is like a really odd conversation, because even though Bitcoin is, totally digital value in an increasingly digital world, to protect it is actually very, very, very analog, right?
Yeah.
And so Bitcoin, if you have a wallet address, that is just a pointer to a location on the Bitcoin blockchain.
Okay.
And so to understand like what's, in that location, like what value is sitting at that location, you would need you can use chain analytics to understand how many Bitcoin are sitting in a wallet, but to actually access that Bitcoin, you would need a private key, right? You can have a public key and get certain information, but you'd need the private key. If you have that private key, you could take everything out of the wallet, right? And a private key would be, there are people that have worked on this from a couple of different angles, but it's typically like alphanumeric string that people can, people have kind of obfuscated that in different ways or whatever, but it's a hash of the wallet address, I believe. I think that's the correct way to say it. And so anyway, it's interesting because people are still like printing the shit off, right? Or writing it down and then putting this private key address like in a safe, a physical safe, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's some companies that have generated like 20 recovery words, which you have to enter in the correct sequence. And so it's just very, it's a very analog process.
Yeah.
So so what's interesting is when you hear about things being hacked on blockchains, on the Bitcoin blockchain, I should say, because there's something called a 5150 hack, but that's really kind of it's never happened in Bitcoin. It would be very, very, very challenging to pull off in Bitcoin. When you hear of something getting hacked, it's like the exchange getting hacked. It's not the chain itself, right? And the exchange is just giving you access to the chain, or is holding your wallet in this stage called a hot wallet, which means it's not offline, fully protected, air gapped, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's one of the things this article is covering, are like some of the mechanisms that are emerging that will make institutional investors feel a little bit safer about engaging in these crypto assets. I think the really interesting thing about this, I was chatting with this guy on Friday about this, a dude that I used to work with, and just some of the movement in the space and stuff. The really interesting thing about this is, dude, these fucking companies, they're already eyeball deep in this stuff. They're just waiting to push the button, right? They're just waiting. Flood of investors. Yeah. And
they have to make those investors feel comfortable with this move, right?
That's right. It's right. And when you can't, if you look at the cryptocurrency marketplace, most of it moves pretty much in direct relation to Bitcoin. Which means that there's no differentiation of like what each digital asset supposedly does, and I say supposedly because a lot of these projects are total bullshit. But what each project supposedly does, there's not differentiation, isn't priced in, right? Because everything obviously should not move in exactly the same way. But so people don't know how to like value certain differentiation in the asset. That's number one. And then number two, how to actually value the asset is something that's kind of still emerging, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying the general value is emerging, and then differentiation is like fucking, of course, not in there. And so,
this is still a super young currency. So
it is.
What, 2009?
It's 2002. The white paper was released in late 2008, and I think people started running nodes in early 2009.
Gotcha.
But the interesting part about this, it's not the interesting. There are many interesting things about this, but I think the thing that most people are missing, we are getting ready to be interplanetary species in short order. Like I really do believe that. Like we will be in our lifetime, the moon will be very accessible. Maybe not to us, but to more accessible, obviously, than it ever has been to humanity.
Yeah.
And I think that in our lifetime, we will probably see people make it to and start to terraform Mars. I think that's probably pretty realistic.
Yeah.
And we will certainly see asteroid mining take place.
Yeah.
So what that means is any value on any mineral, period, on Earth will change once we start pulling, for lack of a way better term, like I don't even know what how to say this, external, like exoterra value. You know what I mean? Like it's like it is not of this world, literally.
Yeah.
And so, there was this silly ass article earlier in the summer that was like, there's a asteroid that if we mined it would make everybody on Earth a billionaire, would have enough gold to make everybody on Earth a billionaire. Well, that's fucking definitely not the way that it works,
Yeah.
But that means toilet scrubber is now made of gold, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that cryptocurrencies, digital currencies, they're here to stay. I think Bitcoin is insanely interesting because, if like it is using some advanced cryptography, the only thing that really explodes this model, and I think we've mentioned this before, is, some sort of quantum computing, emergence out of left field where cryptography fundamentally changes. But if you believe in cryptography, then this stuff works, and this stuff is very, very interesting. And it is a scarce resource. 17
it's
million.
a finite resource.
It's a finite resource. That's exactly right. 17 million, of the original BTC from the original BTC blockchain exist. There are 0.8 billion, almost 8 billion people on Earth.
Yeah.
Like, dude, these systems, these digital currency systems, and I'll just wrap with this, they are not going to depose the dollar anytime soon, but they will absolutely trade in parallel. And if half of the institutional investment that this article calls serious money, if half of 0.5% step into this, Bitcoin moons. Its market cap would quadruple overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, I think that people thinking about adding this kind of stuff to their portfolio is pretty interesting. I think people should be about that. But anyway, so it's kind of cool. And I guess let me just add this one other thing. So we were talking about the custodial relationship, and and what I meant was, like, so if I'm holding your Bitcoin, how do I protect it for you? And so as it turns out, what you need to do at current is a little bit more involved than simply password protecting something, right? And so because Bitcoin you cannot recover it, period. And because it works in, there are like layers of obfuscation that you can interact if you like take Bitcoin and put it in, change it to exchange it for Monero or Zcoin or whatever, and then back to Bitcoin. Like it's hard, if not impossible, in some cases to track. And so if you lose it, it's gone, right? And it's not insured. So as of now, so what companies are doing is they're taking Bitcoin addresses, putting them on hardware wallets, and then air gapping these hardware wallets, and then using things like Faraday cages, which is like this like metal structure that blocks like electromagnetic pulses and things like that. And I think just like digital interference generally. They're putting them like in, and it mentions Wences Caceres. And then they're putting these air gapped cold hardware wallets, cold wallets, in bunkers underground. It's fucking crazy when you start,
Yeah, for sure, man.
But anyway, I don't know. What do you think, man? It's kind of a brave new world, when it comes to that.
Yeah. I think that honestly, I think another thing that's holding all of this back is just the fact that the knowledge really isn't out there yet, or at least widespread knowledge of really how Bitcoin functions and what even Bitcoin is. And I think I think that once enough information gets out there and it's reiterated and it's dumbed down to the point to where a layperson can whatever read two paragraphs on Bitcoin and blockchain and understand it, kind of thing. I think that people are really hesitant because they don't really get it, that they don't really have
Right.
that deep of an understanding of it. So
Right.
obviously it would be tough to part with your money as an investment into something that you don't really understand that well. So
Right. Right.
but yeah, I just thought this one was really interesting because it's, like you said, the whole blockchain, it's basically impenetrable, but the storing of these wallets and the cold wallets and just the being a custodian of just very large sums of money. People want to make sure that the right security is in place, and that's kind of what this article was kind of outlining, was the fact that it's a security race, and it's whoever can come up with the security protocol for that makes these investors feel at ease, kind of thing. So, but
Yeah, 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 and I mean, there was a fancy one that came out a few years ago called the Glacier Protocol, and all it was like print your shit and like hide it. You know what I mean? It was more involved than that, but it was
yeah,
just like, whatever, still working on it.
yeah,
Okay, cool. So there we go, man. So what's up with the Tindying?
yeah, dude. So it's so funny because we've covered a lot of shit on the Tether Radio podcast about dating apps and social media and all that stuff, and which I was pretty big into social media for probably about 6 or 8 years, and then I just wholeheartedly hopped out, with the exception of our Tether Radio accounts. And but God, man, we were just like constantly covering stuff like this, and these data grabs by these well, in this case, these dating apps. But I pulled this one from Mashable, and it was titled "Tinder and Bumble Try Keg Standing Their Way to Success."
Okay.
So which this is just the latest marketing ploy by dating apps and services and social media in general to recruit more people. And so what they're doing is Bumble and Tinder have started. They've started at a few. I wanted to find the universities that they're currently at. University of Texas at Austin, Oklahoma University, Tulane University, and Northwestern University have all had people confirmed that have attended these types of parties. But so basically, the way that the party works is. And I'm just going to read this verbatim from this article. I thought that they broke it down pretty well. So here's how it works. A partygoer walks up to a frat aligned with Tinder. So a Tinder or Bumble will pretty much sponsor a fraternity. And a brother asks the partygoer if they have a Tinder U profile, which is Tinder U is only like whatever Tinder for universities. It's basically how Facebook kind of started out. And if they do have it, great, you can go inside and whatever, that's cool. If you don't have it, then you're directed to scan a QR code, which prompts the person to download the app and create a profile. Voila, new user acquired. And this policy goes for all attendees, even if they're currently in a relationship with someone.
Right.
So it's literally just, hey, you want to come into this party? Well, tonight it's a Tinder party, so do you show us proof that you have a profile, and then you're gained access, or you're granted access. And if you don't, then you scan this little QR code, and they basically you have to prove that you have an account with this thing. So
Right.
in all actuality, man, I mean, it's a good idea. Because I mean, these fraternities, they were talking about how these fraternities were, let's see, they were like given stipends and stuff to throw these parties. Yeah, giving the frats swag and cash to require their party goers to download and sign up for the apps at the door. So these fraternities are, have jumped in wholeheartedly, and I mean, I could see this as becoming a pretty big thing. To be perfectly candid with you, man. The funny thing is at the end of this article, they were talking about how dating apps and fraternities are both working to scrub their reputations as unsafe places for women, filled with rogue penises and disrespect. I don't really understand how this is helping their reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
but yeah, it was just I thought it was a pretty interesting marketing attempt, and I would be very surprised if it isn't if it is not pretty popular among fraternities.
Right.
I mean, who the vast majority of college goers, I would say, college party goers, would have no qualms about signing up for some app to get into a party and get like free beer or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that they're probably showing up to this party fucking 3 sheets to the wind in the first place. So they're probably just like pressing through terms of conditions and or terms of services and all that stuff. And so, they're going to be tracking these guys, left and right. And you can probably say, oh, well, we know that all these people that are signing up in this location go to this university, and we're at this party that night, kind of thing. So I don't know, man. It makes me nervous thinking about it, but I know that it's, people don't think about it anymore. They just fucking do it. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But, I don't know. We were talking about it. We were talking about it a little bit earlier with the, the kind of convergence of the digital world and yeah, this is just another step in that direction,
For sure. Faux show.
But I think it's really interesting. There's actually a dating, there is a dating, God, what is it called? The new app that's like, I can't remember, dating app.
Mm-hmm. What's it's like?
It's like its whole thing is encouraging the like experiences with a hinge is what it's called. That's what it is. And so let me read this. Hinge is, it's interesting. Designed to be deleted. That's their whole thing.
Oh, yeah, we covered this, didn't we?
Yeah, in today's
or just real quick.
We did. Yeah, in today's digital world, singles are so busy matching that they're not actually connecting in person. Hinge is on a mission to change that, so we built an app that's designed to be deleted. Meet people who want to get off dating apps too. Right, and so their whole thing is like serious connections in the real world rather than like a hookup app,
Yeah.
So it's I don't know.
Do you know how long they've been out?
Fucking parties is that, but it's interesting. And I've got some buddies that that use Hinge and like it. So
yeah. So how long has Hinge been out?
I don't know. A couple years, I think.
Couple years, yeah. Because so Tinder has been out like 6 maybe,
or more.
Gotcha. Yeah. But it's just this is interesting to me for the sole reason that I'm already married, and it's interesting how the evolution of dating has gone.
Right.
and like I still have single buddies and stuff that are fucking completely into this stuff and like constantly on these apps and stuff. So maybe
Right.
not constantly on these apps, but
Right.
they're definitely utilizing them. So,
Right. Right.
but
Right. Right.
but just another way to get some data points on you. So, and doing it to a very susceptible group because, man, when you're a college party goer, you're thirsty, man.
Right. He's thirsty, man.
You're thirsty. And if you sign up for a Tinder app, man, if that can quench that beer thirst, then why not, man?
Why not, dude?
So,
That's exactly. Okay. Racial bias observed in hate speech detection algorithm from Google.
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna have to help me kind of get to this quickly,
for sure.
but in a nutshell, um, what they're saying is that the way that people communicate the same point could be different based on race.
Correct. And the two types of English that are front and center for this article were African American centric, or I'm sorry, African American aligned English versus white aligned English.
Which is fucking bullshit. That is
Yes.
it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean it's like you cannot. I understand why they're putting it this way. Like I get it. I understand it. But language is, I mean, white aligned English in Granger County, Tennessee is very different than white aligned English in Los Angeles, California, which is different than it is in Seattle. It just fucking is.
Yeah.
And so like this idea that you can like just distill things, I don't know. It's just really interesting. And frankly, if I were African American, this would be pretty annoying, I think.
Well, dude, I think that it's fucking offensive. Like
Yeah.
just the fact that it's like, wait a second, so you're setting a separate standard for literally two different races? 'Cause,
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what basically what they're talking about in this article is the fact that the algorithms for picking out offensive or abusive language on Twitter, it's they say that they are racially biased. So, for instance, if someone said, I saw him yesterday versus I saw his ass yesterday. So the second one would be flagged as offensive, or a 95 like toxicity score or something along the lines of as that. But they're saying that if you take into account the perspective from which it's coming, aka whether or not the source is using African American aligned English versus white aligned English. If you said, I saw his ass yesterday, and the person is using white aligned English, it's got a 95% toxicity score. Whereas if you say, I saw his ass yesterday, and the source is using African American aligned English, then it has a substantially lower, if not negligible, toxicity score.
Right. And so I just think that's it's a really like I get it. But it's like, why not just say I saw his ass yesterday? Like I just don't understand. I don't understand how it's any different.
Yeah.
I just don't
Exactly.
I don't get that. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I think we're running into this. Okay, so I saw this meme the other day, and it was from Family Circle that they had like photoshopped,
Right.
and it had the dad holding a cookie, and he goes, "What do we say in order to get what we want?" And the next frame is a little kid holding his hand up, and he says, "I'm offended."
Yeah. Yeah, and
that's where we are right now.
It is where we are, and it is I don't know, racial bias observed in hate speech detection algorithm. How the fuck is that racial bias?
Yeah.
How is it racial bias to say that, using
it's you're either cursing or you're not cursing.
Cursing or you're not cursing. That's exactly right. And I don't think that it's like that creating. And I'm with you, man. I mean, that would like really piss me off, right? Like you're saying, okay, you're just going to create a lower standard.
Yeah.
And
that's what I see it as personally.
Well, I mean, but that's just absurd.
Yeah.
It's absurd because I think that like it is things like this that continue to perpetuate wedges that are being driven, amongst the populace. And I'm telling you, like, straight up, man.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what this means, who the powers that be are.
Mm-hmm.
Powers that be, they want to sow conflict. They want to sow, like, that's what they want. It is not helpful. And like, we are in a class situation here, right? There are people that are powerful and wealthy that control everything else. And so whether you are white, black, Hispanic, whatever, right? Like, we are very much on the same page versus, the Jeff Bezos type characters of the world, right? And so, things like this, man, I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
It kind of comes back, you talking about sowing confrontation and all that, and among the populace. I mean, dude, it comes back to the old phrase: "United we stand, divided we fall." Because the thing is, dude, you keep us divided and we're weak. But if we actually, put our heads together and fucking whatever, just put our differences aside and shit, then we can actually achieve some incredible things. So
it's got silly to me because it's like if like I think that there can be a general agreement that living in the United States is a and by the way, this could go for any country, right? Like I don't know that nationalism in and of itself is a bad thing, right? Yeah. Like if you are from Spain and you are proud to be Spanish, and there are reasons that you choose to live in Spain versus immigrating someplace else, amazing, right? As an American, that's certainly how I feel. I appreciate the freedoms that I have here. Now, granted, I've never lived in Spain full time. I don't know. I've never lived in Sweden, full time. I don't know. But I know that there's nothing in the United States currently today that would spur me to immigrate elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
And so I think there are general reasons that people stay and choose to conduct the very short amount of life that we have here in the United States. And so my point is that, like, if you agree on those reasons, like the freedoms that we have and whatever, yes, there are still major structural things that need to be tweaked and changed to be made better, right? But it's like, there was an article that came out the other day that was like 1 in 5,000 African American boys can expect to die at the hands of cops. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't want to get super far off topic here, but it's like, look at all of the people that are killed by police around the country, right? Like, it's just to suggest that people are hunting other people down in the street. I just don't think that's reality.
Yeah.
I mean, is there like a disproportionate number of African Americans in prison? Fucking A, absolutely. And is something wrong with society where that's occurring? I probably would say yes. Where if somebody has powdered cocaine, the same amount of powdered cocaine, the sentence is different than somebody who has the same amount of crack cocaine. Yeah, fucking clearly there are things that are institutional that need to be tweaked that have
Yeah.
affected people's lives deeply, right? But I
Mm-hmm.
think most of those are coming from the top, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, so I don't know. It's a really tough thing. And that's a different topic for a different day. But
Yeah.
that was just kind of a zany article, dude. It's not detecting racial bias. It's just I don't know. I think that's kind of offensive. But
No, I
anyway,
agree. I agree, man.
so
That's why I wanted to dive into this one, man, because it was. I just think it's a crock. I think it's just something, some other PC bullshit that is keeping the populace divided, or just driving another wedge in there.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that generally people are starting to kind of see through this. Like the talking heads that are just on this treadmill of this like treadmill of
political correctness. Man,
yeah, well, political
in my
correctness,
opinion.
but also just we'll talk about, like, they figured out a way to monetize, to weaponize and monetize at the same time emotion, right? And so there are people that make money by, like, just being, super far right. There are people
Yeah.
that make money by being super far left, right? And I don't think that, for the most part, the way that our political system is set up, I think that there are certain ecosystems, and I can actually give a really specific example, that thrive on things being broken. I think Los Angeles is one of these places. Like, homelessness is so insane in LA. Like, it maybe is the biggest problem that's facing Los Angeles. I mean, it is out of control, crazy.
I mean, shit, dude. At this point, people are waiting on the bubonic plague to fucking rear its head
That's
again.
exactly right. And so it is hard to wrap your mind around when you see this happening. But based on the Los Angeles, the way that the political situation is in Los Angeles, many people have used that as like a speaking point to kind of achieve an office, and then they just go and achieve the next office, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and the follow through game, in some cases, is pretty weak. And so, when you have a platform that's really popular and people can use that platform to get things, to achieve a personal agenda, but then whether it's simply because solving homelessness in Los Angeles is a 2-decade challenge, right? And an office is you're only elected in this office for 4 years. Like, there's no real meaningful way to kind of take it from being a speaking point to, like, real actionable policy that extends past, that is nonpartisan and extends past a term length.
Yeah.
Like, that just seems to be a common thing. I don't know how we got into that, but it just seems to be a common thing. Oh, right. My point was power thriving on misdirection and broken systems.
Yeah.
And I think that this kind of shit is, like, right up that alley,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just looking at the countdown clock here, brother.
Yeah, we probably have about 15 minutes
Okay.
because we got a little bit later start.
Okay. So why don't
You want me to do this one and then wrap?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Okay, let's do that. All right, cool. Well, so kind of getting back into the field of tech, I thought this was really, it's very cool, but it also is a red flag to, hey, next time you're just randomly using another person's phone charger, watch out. Anyway, so I pulled it from The Verge. A researcher made a lightning cable that can hack your computer. So this guy, his name's Mike Grover, and he's a security researcher who reportedly works for Verizon Media and goes by MG online. He has developed lightning cables that can hack someone's computer. So he calls these cables OMG cables, O period MG cables. and they were at the security conference, DEF CON, and he was selling them with an online security product store, and it's called Hack5, HAK5, and they're selling the Lightning lookalike cable for around $100. He hopes soon. So what this cable is he was able to take the USB end of the Lightning cable and take the casing off and install software and hardware within the cable, including a wireless access point inside the USB connector. So when the cable's plugged into a computer, it can be triggered remotely to attempt to steal a user's login credentials and install malicious software.
Right.
And this is all within a cable, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. So apparently these aren't like a new thing or anything like that. But the crazy part about this is the fact that he literally did this just at his home. He didn't have some crazy tools, didn't have access to, some kind of shit that the vast majority of public citizens have access to. And he decided to use the Apple Connect or the Apple Lightning cable because it was the hardest to interface with because it's so small. But so his thinking was, if I'm able to do it with this cable, then there's no cable out there that I can't do it to, kind of thing. So he has literally developed this cable that allows you allows the user to get like login credentials and numerous other things, install malware and all that. And just, I don't know, man. I thought it was a kind of cool little development. I mean, this guy, he seems to be kind of a, what are they called? White hat hackers?
They expose flaws to, to
so
tell about
so
it.
These companies will fucking pay attention and, figure out the vulnerability and smash it. So.
Right.
The other thing was, I thought this was kind of incredible. Let's see, I can't remember if I can't remember if it was this guy or someone else, and they were just talking about it. But they were talking about how there were USB thumb drives that, when you plug them in, they literally will install malware and then explode.
It's amazing.
I was like, dude, this is some fucking
actually,
Inspector Gadget shit.
Yeah,
right
no,
here.
I saw. You've got to YouTube that. It's pretty
Okay.
amazing.
Really?
It's like, it installs malware and then it just starts smoking out of control. It's really.
I mean,
it's
that's so cool. Like, that is so fucking cool.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I wish that the kids could see more things like that, because I think they would get way more amped on tech and like putting the time to get good at math and science to be able to do things like that,
Yeah. No, I agree, man. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. I thought it was a pretty neat little development, and yeah, dude, I mean, this is just more evidence that it's like, dude, hacking is becoming more ubiquitous and easier, and people are developing novel ways daily, and if you think that Bluetooth has a lot of vulnerabilities, man, you wait till these, well, and this may not ever occur, but you wait till this development falls into the wrong hands, kind of thing, and we end up with these cables that are being mass produced, kind of like that Bloomberg article, and end up going out with like 1 million shipments of Apple devices or something.
Or the AT&T folks that were hiding, that were hiding malicious hardware or implanting malicious software, being paid for it out of the gate. Yeah. It's crazy, man. Supply chains have got to get locked tight, you know?
Yeah. And honestly, coming kind of full circle, I think that blockchain has a place there, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of development that needs to happen, but I think that's really why, you know, people are so excited about it. But but anyway, damn. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say there. Episode 62. Damn.
Damn.
I can't talk anymore. Episode 62 in the can. Here we go.
Yeah.
If you dug it, hated it, anything in between, tetherradio@gmail.com, tetherradio@gmail.com, on Twitter @tether_radio, Instagram @tether_radio, Facebook, all one word, Tether Radio. Man, episode 62, we've got some super exciting programming additions that will be coming out in the next, we'll call it 2 to 3 weeks, maybe month and a half max.
Yeah. So keep a lookout on all the socials, because we've got some stuff in the works to try to start generating a little more content for anybody and everybody following us on the socials. So yeah, just keep a lookout. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got some really cool programming that's coming up. I think you guys are going to dig it. Appreciate the continued support on Podbean. If you haven't, hop on to iTunes, give us a rating. But yeah, you know, we're interested in continuous improvement. So we will take your thoughts and we will do our best to incorporate them. So this has been episode 62 of Tether Radio. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Daniel.
We are reminding you, dear friends, to stay tethered in this shit show of a world. Much love. See you next week.